We all want to feel in control of our health, but sometimes the rules that we set for ourselves end up doing more harm than good. If you've ever found yourself focused on a minor symptom or caught in a loop of constant worry, chances are you have health rules that have become too rigid and too unrealistic. These types of health rules can make even the smallest physical sensation feel like a big threat, which then leads to anxiety and avoidance behaviors, and that can result in your world getting a lot smaller. But the thing is, just as we're the ones that create these health rules, we have the power to change these rules. So in today's video, we're going to take a step-by-step look at how you can change unhelpful health rules and replace them with more balanced, realistic rules about your health. Now, the first step in adjusting health rules is to recognize which are the biggest ones, the ones that are causing you the most anxiety. Maybe you can think of one off the top of your head, something like, I must always be symptom-free to be healthy, or if my doctor can't explain a physical symptom, then it must be something serious. These types of rules put you in a constant state of heightened alert, and they make every little sensation feel like a potential crisis. So once you've identified the unhelpful rule, what you want to do is to try and think about where that rule might have come from. This part of the process is about understanding where these health beliefs came from and why you've held on to them for so long. A lot of the time, these health rules come from a place of protection. So, for example, maybe you grew up in a family where any illness, no matter how small, was treated as serious. Maybe every time you had a cold, your mom rushed you to the doctor. In that context, you might develop a rule like, I must take every symptom serious to protect myself. It made sense at the time, and it might have even felt helpful back then. But now you may be able to see more clearly that the rule might be causing more harm than good. It's causing you to feel anxious about every small sensation that could be leading to constant doctor's visits or endless research about symptoms online. So while it might have once served a purpose, it's not really helping anymore. So the next step in the process is to challenge the unhelpful rule you've identified. Now, it's not uncommon for this part to feel uncomfortable because these rules are probably deeply ingrained. You may have had these rules for a long time, and they've shaped how you view your health and how you respond to physical sensations in your body. But by questioning these rules, you can begin to start seeing them for what they really are: unrealistic, anxiety inducing beliefs and assumptions. So, to challenge these beliefs, one of the first questions to ask yourself is this rule even achievable? So, for example, if I hold a rule like, I must always be symptom free to be healthy, what I want to do is to ask myself, is that even realistic? And the answer to that question is no. Our bodies are complex, and we experience sensations and little aches and pains every day. And the vast majority of these are completely harmless. You might have muscle soreness from an intense workout. You might have a headache from dehydration. You might have indigestion from eating too fast. None of these are signs of illness. It's impossible to expect your body to be free of sensations all the time. It's an unrealistic standard that just sets you up for disappointment and anxiety because your body's always going to change and you're always going to experience these sensations. By recognizing and questioning whether the rule is achievable, you start to see how setting such an unrealistic expectation can cause and lead to anxiety. The next thing you want to ask yourself is this rule helping me live a better life, or is it keeping me stuck in anxiety? Often what you'll find is that you have rules that actually do more harm than good. So for example, if you believe, if my doctor can't explain a sensation, then something must be seriously wrong, this rule might lead you to mistrust your doctor. You might feel frustrated after every visit if they can't provide you with a definitive answer. And then that reinforces your anxiety and makes you feel like your doctor's missing something. But the reality is, even doctors don't always have the answers for every minor sensation or every change in our bodies. And that's okay. We don't always have to know the cause of a physical sensation. You may also want to ask yourself whether your doctor or even the people around you may hold these same types of rules. Does your doctor expect to be able to explain every single body sensation? The answer is probably no. Doctors tend to look at the bigger picture. They know that some symptoms aren't a big deal and they aren't a cause for concern. That doesn't mean they're neglecting your health. It means they understand that the body's complicated and that some sensations simply aren't signs of danger. By recognizing that even doctors don't live by these rigid rules, you can begin to start to let go of them yourself. And once you've challenged the unhelpful rule and recognized how damaging and unrealistic the rule is, the next step is to think about it as something that's more balanced and realistic. The goal here isn't to drop all of your health rules entirely, but rather to tweak and adjust them so that they can better reflect what's really going on and reality itself, and to allow yourself to live with less anxiety as a result. So let's go back to the rule: I must always be symptom free to be healthy. A more realistic version of that rule might be something like, it's normal to experience occasional aches and pains or sensations in my body, and most of them are harmless. Now, notice this new rule still acknowledges that the sensations will happen, but it removes the impossible expectation of being symptom free at all times. And this flexibility is important. It allows you to move away from rigid thinking and instead approaching your health from a more of a perspective of curiosity and acceptance rather than viewing every symptom as a potential crisis. And you can start seeing these symptoms as a normal part of being human rather than dangerous. Another helpful technique to rewrite these health rules is to change the endings of if then statements. So, for example, instead of thinking, if my doctor doesn't know what's wrong, then it must be serious, the idea is to reframe it as, if my doctor doesn't know what's wrong, it's still probably not anything serious, and it's likely going to go away on its own. This simple shift in language helps acknowledge the uncertainty of the situation, but not automatically assuming the worst. And once you've rewritten the health rules, the next step is to put these new, more flexible and realistic rules into practice in your everyday life. And this step requires you to repeatedly remind yourself of the new rule when old thoughts and fears start to creep back in. So imagine you're going about your day and you suddenly feel a strange sensation in your chest. Previously, you may have immediately jumped to the conclusion, I must be symptom free, something must be wrong. But the idea here is to catch those thoughts and replace them with the new rule, which is something like, it's normal to feel sensations in my body, and most of them are harmless. This mental shift helps interrupt the anxiety cycle and allows you to get back to whatever you were doing without getting stuck in a health anxiety worry spiral. It's also helpful to think about things that you can do behaviorally to reinforce your new rules. For example, if you've avoided exercise because you were scared that physical activity would bring up physical sensations that would make you anxious, the idea is to start with lighter activities like going for a short walk or doing light stretching. And by gradually reintroducing these types of behaviors into your life, they can help reinforce the idea that discomfort is a part of being active, and that's okay. And as you continue practicing these behaviors and continue to repeat your new rules to yourself, your new rule will start to feel more natural and more true. And over time, it will become a normal part of how you react to health related thoughts and sensations, and that will help you reduce the impact that health anxiety has on your life. So remember, the goal here isn't to completely eliminate and drop all of your health rules, but rather to adjust the ones that are making your health anxiety worse. And with time and with practice, these new rules can lead to less worry and a lot less anxiety. And if you're interested in learning more about catastrophic thinking and how to recognize and challenge catastrophic thoughts, I'd encourage you to check out this video. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.